All right, Shalom, Mike. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom to the elect. Let's teach the word in all true faith and sincerity. And today, I just want to get into a lesson how prophecy is becoming clearer and clearer as we get closer to the perfect day, which is the return of our Lord Yahushai. And that day, the perfect day, entails a great deliverance as well as a great destruction. And on both sides, uh, things are becoming to a point. And the scriptures talk about as these things unfold, and you're going to know who are the chosen, those are that still left, as well as concerning the who the Lord is targeting concerning his wrath. See, the venue the Lord have chosen to display his anger is America. And this is where the bulk of that great deliverance and great destruction is going to take place. And we're inching closer to that, that finale, that last scene. So I got this article from Newsweek, and it reads, White House addresses NATO withdrawal, says allies turn their backs. And this is all according to the scriptures. Eventually, the allies of America will turn their backs on her. Eventually, which we seeing it now, the beast hating the whore. And a big part of that are those tiny hats. See, Esau's a stench in the earth. But those tiny hats, that nigga got a deep stench. And this is why you see a lot of this chaos, because of their activity. So I'm going to read a little of this article. It says, President Trump, DJ Trump, is expected to raise the possibility of the U.S. withdrawing from NATO during his Wednesday meeting with the Alliance Secretary General, following renewed criticism of member countries over their support for the war with Iran. Yeah, because they wasn't informed. When you go into the nuts and bolts of it, this nigga was so gun-ho for the tiny hats. Everybody else got the news on the back end and expect you to come and get up and you going to help fight, They didn't ask for that. They wasn't given a heads up or some type of counsel on It says, Trump said earlier this month that he was considering putting the U.S. out of the 32-member alliance, arguing that NATO has failed to adequately support the U.S. and tiny hats during the conflict, especially in leading with the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. His comments echo long-running complaints that member nations do not contribute enough to their own defense. And then you making it worse. Before he started messing with those Carmanians, the strait was opening. And but now, they said they have to pay tolls, and Europe is dealing with economic stress and with energy, especially. And even, Spain kind of stood on business, and Trump threatened to cut them off. So ultimately, everything is coming together. eventually it's just gonna be America and the tiny hats versus everybody else. So matter of fact, let's get this Revelation 17, as I mentioned earlier. Revelation 17 and I started 15. It said, and he saw unto me the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So there's the many people. And then, America being that melting pot. And actually this whole being over all the peoples, you know. It says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, beast shall hate the whore. That's the allies. NATO and the EU. NATO with the with like the defense. The EU, the economic part. But these conglomerates of nations is going to turn on the bitch. These niggas felt like that because they turned their backs on it. They don't know what a face turn going to be. Is when they begin to shoot those missiles over here. That's when you going to really know they turned on you then. And we see why they hating the horse. See, the horse ain't just being, it's like just the Lord going to put a spirit on them and they randomly going to wake up and just start hating America. No, we seeing the reasons why. The Lord's a just power. We're seeing things unfold. It's all these charges being brought up on this nigga. All the atrocities he have done. Even when this nigga Trump threatened, he threatened to wipe out a civilization. And well, these Americans did that in a sense where they dropped them fucking atomic bombs on them gooks. And guess what? They haven't forgot about that. They don't think the motherfuckers just gonna let that shit slide? No. They ain't forgot about that. Even to this modern times, Trump and his tweets and the nigga, when he elbowed his way through the front. See, all that shit add up. So the Lord is showing why the whore is being hated. It says, it shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And how is that's going to play out? It's going to play out by the way of their nuclear arsenal being shot over here to America, man. As well as the tiny hats where they dwell now, the land, that has to be cleansed. See, the difference is Israel will be built back up properly. America's going to stay a desert. It says, for the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the word of the Most High shall be fulfilled. So this is all part of the script. That's how we know we at the end. Because, who would think, these niggas running shit. Now it's crumbling from the inside out. They're not agreeing. Only thing these niggas agree on is a digital system. Everything else, they got to they're going to fight it out in a sense. It says, that's pretty much it on that. But that's what's going to happen. Ultimately, the allies of America is going to turn on her. Jeremiah. Is that 50? Matter of fact, yep. Jeremiah 50, I started at 12. It reads, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. And, you had Britain that who birthed America. But as you can see how these nations are separating themselves from the horror, man. Even you got this term, the Brexit, the Brexit, these nations bagging out really to really get away from America, the horror. It says, behold, the hindermost of the nations. And when you go on to that word, hindermost, pretty much going into the west, the ends. The hindermost of the nations is here in America, the west. Cause that's how it goes, east to west. So they show that west is the ends, right to left. It says, behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. See, that's going to be the results of World War III. When the smoke clear and the dust settle, America's going to be a desert. Well, who's going to contribute to it? The Allies. Of course, the enemies, Russia, China. It speaks on how Iran, the Khomeini, is going to waste a portion of the Syrians, Iran, North Korea. But even the Allies, Germany and Britain, France. Yeah, because France showing signs of their turning. Even, of course, Turkey. They always been on the fence, but now news coming out that the tiny hats are eyeing turkey nets. So it wouldn't be nothing for Turkey to, you know what I mean? So this is what we at in this process. It says, because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited. See? But it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that go about Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. So that's you appalled. You're taken from word by words when you see this eerie place that's only desert creatures dwell. You had to be a desert creature. You had to be built a certain way to even dwell in this desert America. When the smoke clear and the dust out, it's gonna be an eerie looking place, man. But that's the wrath of the Lord on display. It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. See, there's all the nations that have that nuclear capability. And them niggas so 38 concerned Iran. We got to get this on uranium. Well, guess what? It's other nations that's pointing at you. You so worried about the Armenians. The allies is going to even, because they ain't just say the enemies of Babylon. It said all ye that bend the boulder. So that's all these nations that have nuclear capability. They're going to contribute to the destruction of America. It says, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord. See, and that's a commandment. That's a commandment. This is not a suggestion or a thought. This is a commandment. This is actually forming and shaping in the planet Earth right now. The things that this devil is doing and saying and niggas stirring shit up with these nations and their allies, this is what it's going to lead to, man. And just going back, the nigga really was saying he's going to cut them out because they trying to help the tiny hats. And that's what's gonna get them fucked up, man. The tiny hats. Let's get it. Jeremiah 49. And 20 reads, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom, and his purpose that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. See? So the least of the flock is concerning the tiny hats, man. As much as they try to push them, they just the irrelevant, this tiny country, the irrelevant little people with that wear these tiny hats. Yeah, it's gonna be these niggas that's gonna drag them into World War III, man. They the ones that's causing all this commotion. But you can see the results ultimately going to be desolate. It said the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. And that's concerning World War III. Because the whole earth is going to reel back and forth. And it talks about being delivered from the noise of the archers. So that's the noise of their falls those missiles hitting. It ain't like it's gonna be a silent, the earth shaking. It's just a silent shake. No, it's gonna be from the missiles setting off, man. But that's what it's gonna lead to. Ultimately, the allies of America, Babylon the Great, this is gonna turn on. We seeing this is going back to the article. It's forming, shaping in the earth now. It says White House addresses NATO withdrawal, says allies turn their back. Well, it's gonna play out in its fullness when World War III take place. So yeah, I hope this will edify and let it give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rekha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. Let's teach the word in our true faith and sincerity. Shalom.